You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Your telephone number is 844-RADIO-US, 844-723-4687. Obviously, we joined the testimony in progress that Robert S. Mueller III was giving to Congress, a couple of House committees, the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, that is Elijah Cummings' committee, and Adam Schiff's committee, the House Intelligence Committee. All right, so that's what's been going on today. It's been a lot of testimony. He testified between 8 and 2 in the afternoon, so what's that, 6 hours, plus a break for lunch, I'm assuming. Let's talk a little bit about what happened this morning. The interesting thing about this is that many of us had been trying to figure out just exactly how he was going to explain probable cause for moving forward, or at least the probable cause involved in the FBI laying out wiretaps against presidential campaign workers. Former special counsel Robert Mueller said he would not discuss any information regarding the origins of the Russia investigation, including questions about the Bureau's initial probe and the now infamous anti-Trump dossier during his highly anticipated hearing on Capitol Hill. During his opening statement before the House Judiciary Committee, Mueller again expressed his reluctance as an appointed prosecutor to testify before Congress and warned that he would not answer certain questions. That was certainly the way this all came down today, because he deflected in the early testimony some 111 times. I don't know how many times he deflected in the House Intelligence Committee testimony. Those statistics have not been published yet. I'm unable to answer questions about the FBI's initial opening of the counterintelligence investigation. Well, that's very convenient, because he was charged with discussing and investigating what the fruit of those counterintelligence investigations might have shared. In other words, the Steele dossier is intrinsic to his investigation. But he won't talk about the Steele dossier. The Steele dossier was compiled, the information of the Steele dossier compiled by the FBI. And so he can say, well, it's not in my purvey. But that is intellectually dishonest. So the one thing that Mueller was absolutely vulnerable on, which was, okay, if you knew the president was not guilty of conspiracy or collusion, and you knew that early on, why did you continue? And further, if he was not guilty of collusion or conspiracy, then how can there be obstruction of justice when you knew early on that none of that was happening? In other words, the investigation was going on without real legal sanction. It was going on without a legal basis. So what happens after the initial finding of whether or not the president colluded or whether or not there was a conspiracy? Anything after that is moot. But at least that's the way I see it. If you have a different perspective, 844-RADIO-US, 844-723-4687. I'm unable to answer questions about the FBI's initial opening of the counterintelligence investigation. He would be unable to answer questions on matters relating to the Steele dossier. Without the Steele dossier, if the Steele dossier is found to be corrupt in some way, which I'm very sure it's going to be, then all of this, like I said, is completely and totally moot. Those matters are subject to review, and any questions on that should be directed to the FBI or to the Department of Justice. His comments came within minutes of being sworn in as a witness in an apparent attempt to tamp down Republican lawmakers' questions on the matters. Republicans on both committees plan to focus their questions on the origin of the Russia investigation, including questions on Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act warrants against the Trump campaign in 2016, the unverified anti-Trump dossier, the evidence of political bias from the special counsel team members, like former FBI officials Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. One Republican source told Fox News yesterday they expect Mueller to try to get out of answering a lot of those questions. And he did so today, claiming they were outside the bounds of his report, specifically on the issue of how the FBI could have used the dossier to obtain FISA warrants. This will be discussed. This will be reported on by the DOJ Inspector General, Michael Horowitz. This is when all of this information is going to come out. So what's going on here? I am very sure that Robert S. Mueller III is essentially trying to disassociate himself from the dossier, the Steele dossier, and the use of the Steele dossier by the FBI in going to the FISA court. He is trying to distance himself from that. Why is he trying to do that? Well, because a lot of people are going to go right down the tubes if what I think happened with the FISA court regarding the Steele dossier, if it actually happens the way I think it's going to happen, there are going to be a lot of seriously compromised Washington legacies and careers. I'll just say it that way. The other thing about this is as follows. It seems as though the Democrat thrust in all of this was to create a situation where President Trump is somehow subject to some sort of blackmail. Once again, the president was a private citizen before he was the president. He was doing private citizen things. There was no reason for him to stop any of his business dealings just because he was running for president. They're trying to connect deals that he had in Russia with the so-called Russia collusion, which, oh, by the way, Mueller's report said did not exist, did not happen. Really? They're also trying to say that it is absolutely unethical. Mueller said that it would be a crime to accept opposition research from a foreign power against somebody running for president that happened to be your opponent. Okay, if that's the case, then I'm trying to figure out why it is that Mr. Trump has a problem and Hillary Clinton doesn't have a problem. Mr. Trump was theoretically offered information, negative information on Hillary Clinton from Russia, which never actually occurred. No information ever changed hands because it didn't exist in the first place. Fusion GPS was talking with this now famous Russian lawyer, the subject of the Trump Tower meeting. Those people spent more time talking to each other than Trump spent. The Trump campaign spent like 20 minutes with these people until they realized there was nothing going to happen. There was no information that was going to come forward from the meeting. So in other words, the president is being accused of being willing to accept negative information from a foreign power. Robert S. Mueller III says it's a crime. Okay, well, if it's a crime then, talk to me about Christopher Steele going to Russia, getting information that was clearly disinformation against President Trump, then turning it over to Fusion GPS, who turned it over to Hillary Clinton and the Democrat National Committee, who actually paid for that information. So am I to understand that it's okay to accept opposition research from a foreign country as long as you're paying for it, but not okay to accept it if it's coming to you for free? Is that essentially the interpretation that you got out of that? Again, if you disagree with anything I'm saying, 844-RADIO-US, 844-723-4687. There was a bombshell today. Robert Mueller bluntly dismissed President Donald Trump's claims of total exoneration in the federal probe of Russia's 2016 election interference. The former special counsel told Congress he explicitly did not clear the president of obstructing his investigation. The televised Capitol Hill appearance, this, by the way, from Associated Press, Eric Tucker, Mary Claire Jelinek, and Michael Balsamo. The televised Capitol Hill appearance, Mueller's first since wrapping his 2-year Russia probe last spring, unfolded at a moment of deep divisions in the country. Many Americans hardened in their opinions about the success of Donald Trump's presidency and whether impeachment proceedings are even necessary. Republicans and Democrats took divergent paths in questioning Mueller. Trump's GOP allies trying to cast the former special counsel and his prosecutors as politically motivated. Democrats sought to emphasize the most incendiary findings of Mueller's 448-page report and weaken President Trump's reelection prospects in ways that Mueller's book-length report did not. They hope that even if his testimony did not inspire impeachment demands, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi made it clear she will not pursue impeachment for now. Mueller could nonetheless unambiguously spell out questionable, norm-shattering actions by the president, which is perfectly understandable. This president is not a politician. There will be norm-shattering actions by this man. He's going to make impolitic remarks, which he has. He's going to make outright political mistakes, which he has. He's going to be trapped in the paradigm of politics because he's an outsider, which he has. Mueller, by midday, appeared unwilling or unable to offer crisp sound bites that could reshape the already entrenched public opinions. Look, he's not going to testify beyond the report. He cannot testify beyond the report. If he does, then he runs himself into his own perjury traps that he ensnared Michael Flynn with. In the opening minutes of the hearing, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Gerald Nadler, a New York Democrat, asked Mueller about Trump's claims of vindication. Did you actually exonerate the president? No. Though Mueller described Russian government efforts to interfere in American politics as among the most serious challenges to democracy he encountered in his decades-long career, which included steering the FBI after the September 11th terrorist attacks, Republicans seized on his conclusion of insufficient evidence to establish a criminal conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia. Those are the facts of the Mueller report. Russia meddled in the 2016 election, said Doug Collins, the top Republican in the House Judiciary Committee. The president did not conspire with Russians. Nothing we hear today will change those facts. Mueller was pressed as to why he didn't investigate a dossier of claims the Republicans insist helped lead the start of the probe. He said that was not his business, not his charge. It was outside my purview. Again, very, very convenient. By the way, Robert Mueller kicked off his testimony before the House Intelligence Committee by issuing a clarification of something he said during the morning hearing about his decision-making process when it came to the question of whether President Trump committed obstruction of justice. Ted Lieu of California had an exchange with Mueller. Quote, the reason you did not indict the president is because of the OLC opinion. That's the Office of Legal Counsel. There we go. The OLC opinion that you cannot indict a sitting president. Correct. Mueller replied, correct. That gave the impression that if it were not for the Office of Legal Counsel's opinion, Mueller would have indicted the president. In the afternoon, Mueller was quick to say that that is not what he was trying to say at all. Quote, I want to add one correction to my testimony this morning. I want to go back to one thing that was said by Mr. Lieu, who I said, and I quote, you didn't charge the president because of the Office of Legal Counsel opinion. That is not the correct way to say it. As we say in the report, and as I said in the opening, we did not reach a determination as to whether the president committed a crime. Again, this is extremely convenient. Extremely convenient. By the way, I am noticing that President Trump is going to be leaving the White House and may indeed speak on the Mueller hearings today. We will cover that should it be available while we are on the air today on the Wells Report. Mueller made it clear he did not intend to support Lieu's implication that he would have indicted Trump. Mueller would have indicted Trump if not for the Office of Legal Counsel opinion. That would have meant that Mueller determined that Trump committed a crime but could not do anything about it. That was something that came out of this morning's hearing, and to be perfectly honest with you, was unfortunate, which is indeed why Mueller fixed it as soon as he could. Let's see what else was going on. Former President, this by the way, is coming to us from USA Today. Christine Phillips, Kevin Johnson. Former Special Counsel Robert Mueller told a televised hearing today that the investigation he supervised revealed a serious threat to American democracy from Russian election interference and reinforced his conclusion that he had not exculpated President Donald Trump, in other words, found innocent. This deserves the attention of every American, Mueller said in his opening testimony that largely tracked with the details of his investigation. It absolutely tracked with the details of his investigation of the Kremlin's efforts to sway the election that put Donald Trump in office. Interesting wording there. Mueller began testifying before Congress Wednesday at the start of a pair of hearings Democrat hoped would change the trajectory of Donald Trump's presidency. It became apparent soon after the start of the remarks that he was unlikely to offer information beyond what was already detailed in the final report. He said it again, the report is my testimony, and I will stay within that text. You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. So the circumstance of this is as follows. Mueller is not going to sway from the report. Therefore, all of this testimony is the report. This is the Wells Report. That was funny.
It is a horrible scenario, but it happens. Dennis writes about his wife. She was diagnosed with leukemia. In fact, she's a 2-time survivor. And in the midst of all that, they ran up over $1 million in medical bills. Thankfully, they're Medi-Share members. And Dennis says they are so thankful for that, how others came together to meet their needs. And that's how so many Medi-Share members feel. This is not health insurance. It's different. You don't have to pay for things you don't believe in. And like Dennis found out, it just works. So if you join Medi-Share, not only do you save a lot of money, the typical family saves about $500 a month, but you know where your money's going each month. You're helping people, and if the time should come, they'll be helping and even praying for you. So yes, it's different, and as more than 400,000 people now know when it comes to healthcare costs, different is beautiful. Find out more. Call 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
Hi, I'm Wade Alaroot for AMP Fest 19. AMP Fest 19 is the most entertaining political event and Trump Fest of the year for any conservative who wants to be empowered and entertained, or for any Trump superfan who wants to just have a blast. If that's you, head to the Trump Doral Hotel on October 10th to 12th in sizzling, sexy Miami, Florida. Headliner speakers at AMP Fest 19 include Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Dinesh D'Souza, Charlie Kirk of the Turning Point USA, Brandon Straka of the Walkaway Movement, and of course yours truly, Wade Alaroot. I love that guy. But this is more than a traditional political event or Trump Love Fest. AMP Fest 19 features a Texas Hold'em poker tournament, golf tournament, comedy night, pool party, yacht party, fashion show, movie screening, Women for Trump social, and prayer breakfast hosted by Alveda King. To register for AMP Fest 19, just go to AmericanPriority.com. That's AmericanPriority.com. It all happens October 10th to 12th at the Trump Doral in sizzling, sexy Miami. I'll see you there. AmericanPriority.com.
Tired of overpaying for the little blue pill? What if you could get the exact same results for just a fraction of the price, guaranteed? Well, now you can with Sildenafil, the active ingredient in the blue pill. With 20 milligram generic Sildenafil tablets, you get the exact same results for less than $2 per pill. And again, the results are guaranteed. That's right, absolutely guaranteed results for a fraction of the cost of the little blue pill. So give your wallet a break and call us toll-free at 800-365-6017 to get your generic Sildenafil delivered discreetly to your door. And of course, while saving hundreds of dollars, you'll also be saving time by saying goodbye to those long, embarrassing pharmacy lines once and for all. Again, just call 800-365-6017 and get your generic Sildenafil with a 100% money-back guarantee. Getting your pills doesn't get any easier or cheaper than this, so call 800-365-6017 now.
You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. This is a special town hall meeting about what has been going on. I know you are probably kind of sketchy about most of the testimony. I listened to most of it today. It was evasive. It was embarrassing, not just for Robert S. Mueller III, but it was embarrassing for I think, all the committees involved. I think there were moments that were high drama. And I think there were moments that were also, like I said, counterproductive to anything. There have been a lot of people weighing in on some of this. Okay? And we're going to get to that coming up in just a couple of minutes here on the Wells Report. But let's talk a little bit about what has been going on here. This is basically how people are perceiving Mueller. Former special counsel Robert Mueller frequently appeared confused during his much-anticipated Capitol Hill testimony. Mueller was often celebrated in the media for his laser-like thinking, had to ask lawmakers to regularly repeat their questions, seemingly struggling to pay attention. Well, what he was trying to do was not get himself in trouble. Remember, he was perilously close to being asked a question that would have forced him to invoke his Fifth Amendment privilege. If he did that, the whole thing is over. And so it was far easier for him to disavow that he was going to have anything to do with the origins of his own investigation, which is, he said, not part of the purvey of what he was chartered to do. I think that's intellectual dishonesty. I suppose you could make that case, and you certainly can make that case in front of a friendly audience, especially when you say, I'm not going to testify to anything that an unfriendly audience would be interested in, the specifics of the origins of his own investigation. That's gonna make itself apparent. In the first 90 minutes of the hearing, Mueller needed help to understand questions more than 10 times. In one such exchange, Mueller, under questioning from Representative James Sensenbrenner, the Republican from Wisconsin, and where are you reading from on that? I'm reading from my own question, the lawmaker reminded him. Then he said, then can you repeat it? In another painful episode, Mueller had to ask Representative Sheila Jackson Lee 3 times to clarify and restate her question. That happened earlier today when a representative had to restate her question at least 4 times, finally gave up and said, we'll move on. Daniel Chaitin, Jerry Dunleavy, and Caitlin Yilek, reporting from Washington's the Washington Examiner. Throughout his own testimony before the House Judiciary Committee, Robert Mueller exhibited repeated instances of unfamiliarity with his own investigation. The former special counsel, 74 years of age, appeared extremely confused at times as he faced questions from Democrats and Republicans, often asking members to repeat their questions and failing to recognize names. In speaking about one of the integral parts of the Russia investigation, Mueller contradicted himself on definitions of conspiracy, which his team did look for in their investigative examination of the Trump campaign, and collusion, which they did not due to its lack of a legal definition. Representative Doug Collins, top Republican on the House Judiciary Committee, sought to put to bed the confusion the public has with the 2 terms, which are often used interchangeably, especially by, okay, I'm going to say it, an intellectually dishonest mainstream media. Collins asked Mueller if in a colloquial context the 2 terms were synonymous. Mueller said they were not, but the Georgia congressman informed him that Mueller's report said they were interchangeable. He read from the report. On page 180, volume 1 of your report, it said, as defined in legal dictionaries, collusion is largely synonymous with conspiracy that is set forth in statute USC, United States Code 371. Now, you said you chose your words carefully. Are you contradicting your own report right now? And then Mueller said, not when I read it. Collins challenged Mueller, who said to look at the language, I'm reading your report, sir. That's a yes or no answer. Page 180, volume 1. This is from your report. And then Mueller said, correct, I'll leave it with the report. In other words, the contradiction hanging in the air. This gives you an idea of what kind of things happened with this testimony all day long. Were there any new pieces of information that would damage President Trump? No, it's all in the report. It's been in the report for months. Did Mueller do any favors for anybody in essentially appearing dazed and confused? No, he did not. As a matter of fact, he damaged his own credibility. Now, is that cogent in this? No. The facts are the facts. But what we're doing here is we're speculating as to what those facts say instead of just letting them stand on their own. That's what I see so far. We're analyzing what happened in the Mueller testimony today. This is the Wells Report.
Balance of Nature. Changing the world, one life at a time. I'm loving my Balance of Nature. Since I started, I have not gotten one cold. I kind of fight everything. I get a little tickle, but it goes away.
It's just amazing the difference I felt. I want you to know how much I appreciate the counseling and so forth and your attention to your people. I have been a pretty big advocate for the Balance of Nature. I don't know how many truck drivers have asked me, how in the heck do you keep going at 88, 89 years old? I said, Balance of Nature. If they want to really enjoy some good health, get on Balance of Nature.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. For a limited time, you can receive a 30% discount and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code USA.